We had moved around quite a bit and had invested in some properties, so I had some real estate experience and thought, I'm going to try this. So I was 39 years old, almost, when I got my real estate license. My initial goal was just to be part-time, but when I got there, there was this nice parking sign in the front that said Top Realtor, and in the lobby, there were all of these plaques that had the Top Realtor of the Month, and I'm a little bit competitive. So quickly, I went from being part-time to no, like, I really want to do this.
Super excited to have you here, and I would love to start out with a kind of icebreaker. So what is something that nobody knows about you?
Something nobody knows about me. I spent several years in my early to mid 20s bar hopping in Albuquerque, country dancing.
Oh my gosh, I
So-
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, so after college, I graduated from Miami. I followed a guy to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Moved there. It didn't work out. Shocker. And I was too proud to come home. So I stayed there, and I had a roommate, Mona. And really all there was to do in the 90s in Albuquerque was country dance. There were 3 bars there. So we spent Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday nights going to each bar and country dancing. And it's not line dancing like you
Okay.
think country dancing.
Yeah.
It's partner dancing. So two-step, country swing, waltz.
Okay.
So that was my life.
So were you teaching people how to dance then, or?
No, just
No,
dancing.
just dancing.
Yeah.
Just having fun and
And people-
dancing.
And it's hard to conceptualize
Yeah.
today, but it would be like a big track dance ring, and you just stand on the outside of it with your Coors Light, and a guy comes and asks you to dance. You dance a song, you go back to the edge, and somebody else comes around and asks you to dance again. Yeah, 3
That's-
nights a week. Yeah. I'm not a line dancer.
Yeah, totally different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad to learn something new about you. So let's go in and dive into your story here. I know you have like a long history of how you started and came here. So can we start at the beginning and how you got into real estate?
Okay, so my previous career, I was a computer-based training programmer and worked from home for a while, and then I was a stay-at-home mom with my kids. When my youngest was going to kindergarten, I thought, okay, I really need to do something with my time. I'd spent a lot of time, volunteering at school and making allergy cupcakes because my kids all have severe food allergies, and I really just needed something else. We had moved around quite a bit and had invested in some properties, so I had some real estate experience and thought, I'm going to try this. So I was 39 years old, almost, when I got my real estate license. And I started out at Prudential. I had a friend who worked there, and she got me connected with the manager. My initial goal was just to be part-time, but when I got there, there was this nice parking sign in the front that said Top Realtor, and in the lobby, there were all of these plaques that had the Top Realtor of the Month. And I'm a little bit competitive. So quickly, I went from being part-time to no, like, I really want to do this.
Yeah.
And so that went from, it was a hard time because it was 2009. So I didn't have my first closing for probably 5 months. But after that, it took off. And in 2010, I was Rookie of the Year for Dayton. A lot of realtors were quitting, so there was less competition, and I tell everyone it's just a great time to learn real estate. So I stayed there and just worked really hard and sold a lot of real estate. In January of 20, I decided I wanted to make a change, and so there were really only 2 brokerages in town that I considered, and Irongate had the reputation in the community that I wanted. I felt like their brand was aligned with my brand, and so I transferred over as an agent. Once I got here, though, like many agents, you don't know what you don't know. And so I was surprised when I got here and they handed me folders and said I needed to turn these in for closings. And I was like, wait, back up, because we've been using dot loop for a long time at my former brokerage. So I was able to, thankfully had enough influence. I was able to kind of get that train started, to going to dot loop exclusively. And then as time went on, Greg and Steve had mentioned maybe wanting to sell, and I thought, oh, there are a lot of things here that I think I could make better, not just for me, but for other agents as well. So that's how the conversation kind of started about ownership. And then I ended up buying the company in April of 2021.
And I noticed that you came in right around COVID time.
Yes, COVID was crazy. It was just a few months into being here when, on top of all the change, it was like, oh no, how are we going to sell real estate? One of my first big decisions as an owner was in 21. At that time, I don't remember what the specifics were, but it was a mask mandate that had come out through the state of Ohio. And in real estate, you have to be very sensitive to political issues because there are people, agents, clients on both sides of the fence, and that was a very hot topic. So my job was to write some sort of policy for Irongate that didn't offend everybody so that we lost half of our agents. And I was able to do that. So I was very proud of the fact that the policy I proposed, I had people on both sides of the fence who reached out and said, hey, you did a great job with that. I was like, perfect. That was exactly the goal.
You've mentioned before that you have, is it 10-year increments? Is that how you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not on purpose, but it just seems like my life has kind of been like that, like in little decade segments of doing things. And so with real estate, after I'd been licensed for about 10 years is when I came in and thought, hey, I need a new challenge and something else. So Irongate became that challenge. And when I started, not a lot of agents didn't know who I was. So it was a lot of building relationships and trust with those people, that I wasn't going to come in and do anything to harm them or take away their money. That my intention was really, let's just get tools and programs here that make everyone's life easier. I tell everyone, if you have an idea, bring it to me. If it doesn't cost a ton and it makes sense and I would use it and everyone would use it, then let's make it happen.
How do you think the transition went, like, on your end? Do you think it went smoothly when you bought it?
No, I mean, I think it was bumpy to start, but that happens, and I think you're going to skin your knees a little bit in anything like that. I wasn't expecting all of the outside influences, other brokerages, and taking it as an opportunity as a recruiting effort.
Yeah.
So that was a little difficult just to handle, but we got through that, and I think stronger on the other side of it.
Whenever I meet with agents, I don't hear any complaints or anything. So I think you're doing an amazing job. I really only hear good things from all of the agents.
No, and I don't think anybody was even unhappy with me. I think it was just some people would just paint a picture like, oh, there's uncertainty. So any picture of uncertainty, like, do you really know what's going to happen? Yeah. Just creating questions that don't need to be there. Once that trust was built, that wasn't an issue any longer. Yeah. We are so fortunate to have Steve, because he's a former NAR president and has so many connections and so much knowledge. He's our broker of record and handles any of the complaints, legal issues, which is not a reflection on Irongate. It's just a reflection of the society we live in now, that people can file a complaint about any frivolous thing. And even if it's frivolous, we have to respond to it. So having Steve there and just being able to handle those things, it's really been a godsend. So I'm really happy he's with us.
Since you have been here, what are a couple of changes that you made that you think are really powerful, that you speak are really powerful into the company?
There are so many. I spent the first 3.5 years really just implementing things. I started out with a giant Google Doc with every category of business and what I thought we needed to do to revamp it. one of the very first things that I did was get marketing materials. We didn't have a nice folder with printed materials that we could leave with a client or hand out to a buyer. So I worked with a marketing company to do that. We're still using those things today. So marketing had always been on my mind, and I was fortunate enough to be able to hire you last year as a full-time position to really take that to a level that I really had never dreamed of. Training is also important. So there had always been a training program. It was a matter of forming that into something that really helps agents of all levels, whether they're new or experienced. I did hire a training manager who coordinates all of that to make sure we're staying on top of things. We're offering a diverse curriculum that appeals to everybody.
Yeah. And I think that that is so important that we have a training in-house and also that we are really flexible and can pivot. I know right now, without knowing exactly what it is, but that we might be revamping and just making things feel a little bit younger and things with the training right now.
Yes.
We're in that process. And I think that that is just really valuable, that we are not like stuck, like we're doing it this way, no matter what, we're going to make it work.
Well, I think that's an advantage of being an independent brokerage for sure, and only having one owner. So I am the person, the buck stops here. I make the decisions, and if we need to change something, we just make it happen.
And I really like that we have hands-on training here. I don't know, because I haven't been at other brokerages, but I don't think from what I've heard that that's really widely spread throughout them.
Yeah, I have not heard of that either, but Todd's classes that he does for listing presentations and going to home inspection or new construction. We did a tour of Grafton Hill neighborhood in Dayton. Those things are very well attended by all agents. We even have agents who come back to the same class multiple times because they always learn something new. Real estate's one of those things that it's difficult to learn just by reading about it. It's difficult to learn even by watching a video. It's much more beneficial to have something in person where you can ask questions as things come up.
Classes that you take are to get you to pass the test, but not necessarily to help you like in the field. You just really have to be there and have a good support system to help you learn how to do that.
That's 100% correct. I tell everybody the only thing I learned in real estate school that actually applies today is that there are 43,560 square feet in an acre. And I use that, all realtors use that all the time. But other than that, not a lot of it applies.
Yeah.
So just getting your real estate license is not going to make you a successful realtor. I think one of the things that Irongate really offers is that we have offices, we have managers, we have experienced agents who are in the offices who are willing to help a new agent get started. This is not a competitive atmosphere. Everybody is willing to help each other. People reach out to me or a recruiter or managers, even somebody else in the same office for advice on pricing a house, and we will 100% help. So the goal is to make everybody successful to the level that they want to be successful.
I have so many stories of meeting with other agents and them telling me about the support that they've gotten from other offices where like maybe it was their first closing and they didn't know how to do it and they're on their way there and like calling everybody like, please come and help me. And somebody from another office steps right in and doesn't make them feel stupid or small, which I think is really important, is especially with newer agents, is that we're not trying to minimize the fact that they haven't been here a long time, but support them and be that support system.
It's critical. Real estate is really a tough industry, and I'm sensitive to new agents. Like I said, the market was bad in 2009. And I remember at one point after several months of working and working and working and not having any closings, not making any money, not trying to get towards my goal of being on the plaque. I wasn't even selling anything. Just being curled up on the kitchen floor crying and saying, I need to give up. This is a hard business. And it's a lifestyle. I mean, I wouldn't even call it a business. Real estate's a lifestyle. Yeah. It's not a 9 to 5. If you do it and you love it, you can be successful. That can take away from other parts of your life if you let it. but it's a great business to be in, and I want to support any new agents who have that dream as well.
So how important, I love that you mentioned that, is it for you to really actually enjoy what you're doing? Because I feel like if you don't, it isn't a 9 to 5. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be successful.
Yes, no. You think you would have a very short career.
Yeah.
Because it is rough. I mean, it is hard to deal with client complaints and agents, and it is a lot of pressure. I mean, you're helping multiple people at the same time deal with the biggest transaction in their life. A lot of times they're selling because of a life transition on their side, which is very stressful a lot of the times. So it's really a balance between being somewhat of a counselor to people, at the same time being good at helping with decision making, and on the back end, keeping track of everything, paperwork wise, timing wise. It's a lot. So I don't see somebody who doesn't love this being able to be successful.
I didn't know that you didn't sell your first or have your first closing until 5 months in. So I'm sure for somebody that came in and was like, I got to be on the plaque. Like, I need to be on the plaque. Like, how challenging was that to keep going?
No, it was. And I think that's just part of my personality. Like, I will usually reach like a bottom point, like, okay, I'm giving up, and I just have to reach that point and then pick myself up and be like, okay, you're not giving up. Here's what we're going to do to go kick ass and be better. And so that's what I did. So then after that point, things just fell into place, and I started having closings, and then that very next year started selling. A lot of people ask me how I started getting business.
Yeah.
Really geographic farming, and I know it's old school, but my degree's in journalism, and I like writing. So I started a community newsletter, and it was front and back. I printed it at home on my nice color printer. Invest in one if you don't have it. I wrote all the articles. It was not salesy at all. It was just providing information like, hey, did you see the neighbor's yard? They had the whole thing dug up because there's something called Blue Max Plumbing in our neighborhood. And what is that? Generate a lot of phone calls. People are like, well, do I have Blue Max Plumbing? How do I know? Or things like, hey, your tax assessments came out, which is something we're dealing with now. And they would ask for comps so they could take those to the county to contest their valuation. So I was just answering questions, providing information. I got one listing in the neighborhood because the owner had graduated from high school with me. We weren't friends, but she knew me.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, list my house. We don't live here anymore. So that was really the break into that neighborhood that I was farming. And then for years, I really dominated that community. I still, to this day, do at Halloween. I deliver a pumpkin to every house in the neighborhood. There's a pumpkin carving contest. So on Halloween, every year I'm walking around and judging that. And I give 3 gift cards to the top winners. When I lived in that neighborhood, we had a pond next to the house. So I did a fishing derby. And all the kids would come, and I would get trophies and donuts. It was a fun event. So just being involved in the community, providing information, really, that launched my career.
And I think the same concept can be said whether you're doing in person or doing mailers or a newsletter or social media online, is really providing value and making those connections. That's the biggest thing, because people aren't necessarily going to buy or sell a home tomorrow, but you want for yourself to be top of mind in a year from now when they are looking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's another point that I wanted to make about social media or the old school ways. I tell new agents that really you need to be who you are and lean into what you were good at. So for me, the newsletter made sense. That was in my wheelhouse. I knew how to do that. I knew I was good at it. I am not good at social media. I hate it. It gives me so much anxiety. When my birthday comes around and everybody comments, it's stressful for me to have to post a thank you. That's how bad it is. So obviously, I'm not going to try to force myself into being a big social media agent. That would cause way more stress than I'm already under. So I don't do that. if that's not your thing, don't do it. I'm living proof. There are a lot of agents who are living proof. You do not have to be on social media to be successful. On the flip side, there are agents in our company that are really successful based entirely on social media, and that's what they're great at, and that is awesome. If that's something that you love and you can make it work for your business, perfect.
I think it goes back to the same thing with real estate. If you don't love it, you're not going to be successful at it.
Right.
So I have some agents come and ask me about, well, I don't really like it, but I'm going to try and post 5 times a week. I'm like, that might be something you need to outsource if you don't love it, because otherwise you're going to do it for like a week and then just tail off, and then nothing happens. Nothing comes from that. So I think it is, no matter what form you're choosing to do with marketing, it's being consistent in it.
I would say stick with one thing and just do it well, and then the business will come to you.
So you talked about how we have 7 offices here in the Dayton area, and we just opened a new one. So congratulations. And can you speak a little bit on the process of that?
Sure. Yes, so we have a new location. It's not really a new office. We've had a Kettering office for a long time, but it was in a rented space. Rent was very expensive, so honestly, we're in it way too long. But I wanted to have ownership in a building. I'm a realtor. That's what I do. I buy real estate. I was trying to find a spot that would work for the agents. It was tricky. And then I came across this old abandoned dental office that had been gutted. It looked like a prison, but it's a very good location at Far Hills and Lincoln Park. And I don't even know what I was thinking, but I was like, you know what? I think this will work. I didn't have a budget. I had a ballpark budget that a contractor had given me, which we ended up doubling. So that budget wasn't really realistic. But what we ended up with was a beautiful building that GA White Construction did. They had built a home for me. I'd worked with them for years, and I knew the quality of their construction. And they really went above and beyond with the details. And I really feel like it is the prettiest real estate office that I've been in.
I think it really is different from the other Kettering office, because that one was in like a strip mall. So they just had like the front windows and then low ceilings. And this one, you walk in and it is big windows and bright and airy, and you have all the glass on it's just so nice.
I love it. I get lots of compliments on it. So, and I feel like it improved the community as well. A lot of just general community people have said, hey, that was an eyesore. Even people from the city said that they were getting calls to tear it down because it was so bad, and they just didn't anticipate that somebody would take it and turn it into what it is now.
I know that you have talked about before that you would expand to other places if you have agents that are there.
I don't want to just move into an area and build it and they will come kind of philosophy. That's a little bit risky in business. So if I've got a group of at least 5 agents that are somewhere, I am more than happy to talk and, hey, let's come up with a small office. And that's what we did out in Eaton last year. So it was a group of, we had between 5 and 8 agents that were wanting to make a change. And so I purchased a historic building, very different from the Kettering one, old historic building that just had the greatest charm and original woodwork. And we went into that one and just did a complete renovation on it. And the agents there, they're happy. We've moved into the Preble County market, and it's a win-win for everybody.
We also have commercial and rental properties and things of that nature. So what are some options that agents from the outside looking in, if they wanted to come over here, that we have here?
Yes, so we're a full-service brokerage with departments for commercial. We have a commercial team. That is a very different animal than residential real estate. So if somebody's interested in commercial, we have them speak with Bethany Yost, who's in charge of that department. We also have property management, also a completely different breed of individual who's able to handle that. It is not me. Like, I run for property management. But yes, so we help manage lots of houses in the Dayton area, and we should have more soon, so that's exciting. And then residential real estate as well. We do have relocation Our relocation department coordinates with corporate moves, corporate relocations, as well as our relationship with other independent brokerages throughout the country through leading real estate companies of the world.
It takes a different person, like you said, to be in like commercial, and like what would make somebody successful?
Commercial is different in that it's just based on numbers. Whereas I was saying before, residential real estate is emotional. It's always an emotional transaction. In commercial, people are making decisions for a business based on financials, based on what makes sense. A lot less drama, I would say, in the commercial. But you'd have to be somebody that really enjoys the business aspect of it, and you're not craving that interaction with clients in the same way. A good thing about commercial real estate is that a lot of times it is 9 to 5, and it's not weekends. A lot of commercial agents don't answer their phones on weekends or evenings. They are not showing houses. Downside to commercial is that it takes a long time for a closing. With residential real estate, 30 to 45 days, you could be closed and move on to something else. With a commercial deal, it could be 9 months, it could be 3 years, trying to get through zoning and different hurdles that you have to get to the finish line with that type of transaction. Property managers need to be more skilled even with dealing with people, because there are the landlords and the tenants, and the property manager's kind of in the middle of that. So we tend to have a lot more issues on that side, just unhappy tenants or people that are just our customers. So the people who thrive at property management do have a skill with relating to people, being able to solve problems quickly, and keeping everybody happy. I always say I'm a top salesperson, but in reality, I'm a problem solver and an information provider. Every day is different. There are problems that can pop up in any real estate transaction, from short appraisals to inspection issues, financing. My job, and any agent's job, is at the beginning to try to pick an offer or advise a client to accept an offer that's going to be least problematic. Knowing what those potential problems are and trying to avoid them is the best case scenario. And then if a problem comes up, figuring out a way to solve it. I am very collaborative. Any agent who's worked with me knows that I'm not going to call screaming about some issue. That's not our role. I mean, our role is to a buyer and seller want to complete a transaction. How do we figure out a way to make that happen? Most really successful agents approach it that way, and I would encourage, any agent at Irongate that's our philosophy, to work well with others, and it pays off in the end.
You are here for your client, but once your client enters into that transaction, you all become a team. You're working with the other agent and the other buyer or seller, because you all have the same end goal. So I think it's really important too for you guys to have that reputation of not being like a difficult agent or something. Like, you want to make sure that when your name pops up and they know that you're there, that you're going to get the job done and be helpful in that situation. So looking back on your journey here, is there anything that you would change, or is there any piece of advice that you would give to new agents that are just starting from something that you learned on your journey?
Yes, I would say not to try to do everything on your own. I'm a little bit of a control freak, which is why I sell all this real estate and I don't have a transaction coordinator. I don't have an assistant, done it on my own. And that comes at a cost to family life, to be honest. I mean, if you ask my kids, they would not say that I ignored them or that it was anything bad. But I feel it. I know that there were times when, I remember one specific incident where my oldest was in a musical in high school, and I had this insane client who was in town, and she was just blowing me up until I got up and at intermission, went out into the hallway and was trying to deal with her, missed part of the next act. And I thought, and then she ended up firing me and writing this horrendous review about me.
My gosh.
And I'm like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
I should have just let that go.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting help once you hit a certain number of transactions is not a sign of weakness. It's smart to probably do that. And that way you do have some work-life balance.
How would you suggest for newer agents that are just starting? Obviously, they want to take every phone call. Most agents do. But I have met with some, like Morgan, I think is a really good example of where she does set time. Like when she goes into certain things and she's like, and she maybe will text her client beforehand, like, I'm not going to answer you for 45 minutes or whatnot. How would you suggest to newer agents to have that work-life balance?
You know what? A client doesn't need to know that your appointment is going to the park with your kid. So if you tell somebody, hey, I have an appointment from 2 to 4, they're going to be okay with you responding to them before or after. Mm-hmm. And so scheduling time on your calendar, I guess that would probably be the best approach.
Yeah.
Not, if there is something important, block it off. People will understand. Ask for help from another agent. And I think Irongate is great about that, if I'm out of town or I have something else going on, there are multiple agents here that I could reach out to and say, hey, could you show a house for me? Or could you do this or that? And everybody will step in. So looking at it more as a team and relying on those around you can definitely help with the work-life balance.
And I've heard that from other agents as well, that they feel really supported to be able to go and take that time and go on vacation and know that their clients will still be taken care of and supported.
Our managers even have taken over for months for an agent, multiple agents who've had health issues where they've been out and unable to work, and our managers have been like, that's fine, not even asking for money, just going through and taking care of whatever needs to be done to keep that agent's business running.
Everybody that I've met, and I've been here since November, has been so supportive and kind. I haven't met anybody that I don't get along with. It's been totally different when you come in and you hear like welcome to the family and everything, and you think that's so cliche, but I think it really does stand true. And it seems like that culture carried on. It was started before you were here and it's stayed throughout the whole time. And I think that's really powerful.
That was one of my main goals, is that, and one of the reasons I'd left my former brokerage was I just felt really disconnected. We didn't have a manager, and the admins changed every few months, and I just didn't feel like I was part of anything. Yeah. So I want to make sure that here at Irongate that's everybody feels like they have a place to go, and they don't have to come here. But if you want to come here, there's going to be someone here who can listen to your real estate woes or your horror story and just listen or give you advice if you need it.
Here, being in my office, new agents like popping into other people's offices or asking questions. And I feel like people really do feel like they can even just come in and talk to you. And I see that all the time. It's not like a closed door, like, no, we're the management staff, don't speak to us type of thing. I know if I called you at 9:30 with an issue, you're going to answer it.
I do have an open door policy, and agents call me directly. Mm-hmm. Of course, we have managers and other people to help as well, but if they can't reach somebody or they feel like it's something that has to go all the way to the top, call me.
Kind of going back to when you started, that I really like that you've shared before, is that you knew from the beginning you wanted a website, even though nobody else really had one.
When I started real estate, it was in 2009, and at that point, only top agents, the Lois Sutherlands of the world, had websites. Like, it was a big deal. But I had come from a computer-based training background, and I really wanted to come out of the gate with my real estate license looking like a professional, that I was taking this as a serious career. And so I had Agent Image design my website. My website is still through them. And at the time, spent a pretty significant amount of money on this. A very nice website that then when people Googled me or said, oh, hey, Rhonda's in real estate, and they would go online and they would see, okay, yeah, she's in real estate. And I had the same concept, just providing information to people. I never had a website where you had to sign in and I was capturing leads. It was never about that. Really just about projecting a professional image and sharing information.
Going back to how you have talked about how you do the pumpkins and you've done the fishing derbies. Well, you do pretzels every year.
My pretzel campaign starts in October, like the end of October, ordering stuff, and then these pretzels, boxes of pretzels, go out to now around 500 clients. So anybody who's local and has been a client gets one of these boxes hand delivered before Christmas. That started when I was at my former brokerage, and the relocation coordinator there was going to do it and ask a few agents, like, hey, are you interested in doing this? And that time, I don't know, I maybe had 50 or so boxes that I wanted to do. And she helped with ordering all the supplies, and we went down to the basement of the office, and all of us together assembled these boxes and then got them sent out. And I just continued it. And every year I add to it. It's a pretty significant cost to do that every year, but you would be shocked at the number of people I have who call me and say, hey, yeah, thanks for the pretzels, and we're going to sell our house. And these are people, from 14 years ago that I helped. They know the pretzels are coming. They enjoy the pretzels, and they remember me.
Do you have any suggestions on like how they get started into something like that?
If they don't have clients, pick a neighborhood. If you have clients, you can do pop buys for your clients. Morgan Means is one who does the pop buys, and those are a great idea. You can go online and find all sorts of cute little sayings and little inexpensive things that you can drop off. Same concept, just staying top of mind with your clients. And it shows you go the extra mile to do something.
So for people that might not know, there's a closing gift that people can do sometimes, and then there's a pop buy where people would just come by, like if you were a past client, and they would give you like a little gift or something.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, just a small gift with a reminder that I'm a realtor and here, do business with me.
And I think Morgan does hers in person too, right? Because you said you do all your pretzels in person.
Yeah. Now, I don't personally deliver all of them now.
Okay. That's a lot. I was going to say there's 500.
There are way too many. So I have somebody who helps me.
Okay.
But I help with the packaging.
Yeah.
Everything gets assembled, and I personally order it all. And then, yes, they go out for delivery. Yes, and Morgan does the same thing.
That just really goes to show like how building those connections, and like you were saying, maybe it's not now, but clients from 14 years ago, because that really is what you guys are doing. You're just like planting the seed now and then keep building that relationship for later. Before we wrap up, I just want to ask you one more question. And why do you think that somebody should consider Irongate?
As a new agent, I think we have the support and the training that you need to get started. Because as I mentioned, you don't learn anything in real estate school that's going to help you do this. So you need to be in an environment where there are people around, people who are available, experienced agents who can help you get started. Even just coming into the office, and we have agents who sit on phone duty. Those agents, they're happy to sit and share all the information that they have. That's how I learned real estate, really, was sitting on phone duty at my former brokerage and listening to all the top producers and what they were saying. So I think coming to somewhere where there's training and support is key for a new agent. For an existing agent or somebody that's having some success, one of the advantages of an independent brokerage is that we don't have a franchise fee. So you have your split, but at a franchise, you have your split, and then on top of that, you're paying some percentage as a franchise fee. At Irongate, we don't have that. And I'm proud to say we don't have a transaction fee either that many agents have to pay. So you are coming here, you're getting full support, the same support and tools that you would be getting at a franchise company, but you're not paying those extra fees.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'd love to have you again. So
Sure.
Yeah.
You can twist my arm and I'll come back on. But
I know it's not your favorite thing, but here we go. I hope it wasn't too bad.
no, it wasn't. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.